Cartoons, the animated frontier. These are the voyages of the Cellcast podcast. Its continuing mission to explore strange new cartoons, to seek out new animation styles and new creative storytelling methods, to boldly go where so few ever go again. Welcome to another episode of the Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who just got the evil extracted out of him, Jacob.
Ow! That feels better. Why, thank you. I'd like to introduce our co-host, a man who just got to get his face on. Welcome, Drew.
No, you got to get that face off.
Yeah, face off.
Nicolas Cage has to look like John Travolta. Don't you know how this works? No, I'm kidding. I did see a picture of John Travolta, and it's a good thing that Nick Cage is masked up today.
Perfect.
Anyway, how are you doing today, Jacob?
Man, I'm doing good. It's been a rough couple of days. As most know, if you're from the Texas area, Texas Oklahoma area, we got slammed by a massive winter storm. I know we talked about it the last episode. We had on record, it was between 6 to 9 inches of snow. We had below freezing weather. We had at one point negative one weather, which is something I have never seen.
I think the lowest part prior to this I'd ever seen it get down to was 8.
Yeah.
Maybe. It's like barely single digits, and we actually went below 0. It's like, that's weird.
Yeah, at one point, I literally woke up, I think it was on Wednesday, I woke up and I checked my phone and it said 0. I'm like, okay, this is freaky. This has never happened. So, for all of those people who have served, fire, rescue, police, EMT, all those who went out and braved the storm to pull people out of ditches and fed and clothed and shelter people. I got the opportunity to shelter someone from the storm for a couple of days, which is unique. I was very blessed to do that. And just thank you from the bottom of our hearts and everybody else's. And to learn that some people actually did die due to the result of this storm. It's remarkable that this event happened in our area, and I don't think it's something to be like whenever it snows most of the time within this area. It's maybe like every 5 years, maybe every 5 years. Nothing on this scale. Right. So
most of the time, if it snows here, it's gone in a day.
Yeah, exactly. So there again, enormous shout out to everybody who helped out and gave people the comfort and need they need. Huge shout out. I want to say it here. Travis Riddle. He's a local guy that goes to our church. The guy just went beyond everything and was giving people rides, pulling people out of ditches, getting people to and for work. He gave me a ride one morning. I think it was actually that Tuesday. Mm-hmm. That Tuesday I worked.
That's the only Tuesday you went to work, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It was the only
day you went to work last
for
week.
6 hours. For 6 hours. And
I didn't have work at all last week.
Yeah.
So I actually have stuff to mention in what we've been watching.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm in that same boat. Just big thank you to everybody for those churches who stepped to the plate and opened your facilities for those who need that, either if it's homeless or people who don't have power or water, what have you. Enormous thank you, and that's a blessing for those who are without. Time being, I know I didn't lose power. I never lost power or water.
I had was the apartment above mine. His sewer froze.
Oh,
and so it was leaking into my bathtub.
Oh, fun!
Thankfully, it didn't bust. And I haven't had any issue since then. So there is that.
Awesome. All right. So other than that, my day's been pretty good. It was very nice to be off. I got a few commissions done, which thank you again for all those who would ask for commissions. And I still got a few more to work on. I got to find the time now, ever since I don't have the time that I had before. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I've been doing pretty good. Work has been steady, like you would think.
Yes.
Definitely 4-hour work. And other than that, it's been a pretty good week. How about you?
Well, as y'all know, for the past 4 months, I have been participating in the Raw Quiz Show in their season 2. Mm-hmm. Every Thursday night, I would get in there and record with them, and we would answer trivia questions, try to beat everyone down and win. Yeah. Although, admittedly, our season, we were having a lot more fun and a lot more congenial than I think season 1 was, because they were a little more bloodthirsty. Either way, we finally recorded the grand finale of season 2 this last Thursday. Mm-hmm. I won!
Yay! Applause.
Round of applause.
I
appreciate that. So, if you're curious to see me, kick some booty, go check out some of those episodes of season 2. And another reason I'm going to throw y'all over there to season 2 is because Raw Quiz Show, us, the Franchise Fatigue podcast, which if you remember our Monsters Incorporated episode, we had James Hamrick on. Yes. In that one. Mm-hmm. Plus the Outer Rim Star Wars channel, YouTube channel, got together and created our own little network.
Nice.
To go along with, or for us anyway, to go along with the Christian Geek Central network. Just as a way to get our names out there, cross promote, that sort of thing. So yeah, I did a lot of that.
Yeah, he did a lot.
This is the first week we've had it with. I'll have 2 bumpers I've got to put in there, so we'll see how that works.
Yeah,
but yeah, we did that. Plus, Friday, I was on the Retro Rewind podcast.
Yeah, how did that go?
That went out pretty well. We reviewed Homeward Bound: The Incredible Journey.
Yes, love that movie.
I am not going to tell you how we came out on the rating, but I will say the patrons had to vote on it. So
okay, I gotcha.
Tune in for that, because that was actually a very fun episode.
Alrighty.
Francisco Paul and Daryl Hafner was the other guest on that one that week. So yeah, and then other than that, if I can go ahead and jump into what I've been watching,
go for it.
Along with Homeward Bound and this movie, I also watched West Side Story.
Okay.
I rewatched Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Roar.
Both of those for an upcoming Movie of the Week podcast.
Yes.
Or Movie of the Week podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you remember how I mentioned last week that I had rewatched some of Dr. Stone?
Mm-hmm.
I had watched about 3 episodes.
Yeah.
I'm caught up.
Okay.
All 30 episodes.
Wait. For a modern anime series, there's 30 episodes?
There's in 2019 they put out a 24 episode season.
Okay.
I'm estimating. I may have got that wrong because I've only seen up to season 2, episode 2.
Oh, okay.
So, which technically I guess should have come out last year, but
COVID.
So, yeah. Oh, that's the new Godzilla King of the Monsters Geek Devotions, though, because we were going through all of the MonsterVerse movies prior to Godzilla vs. Kong at the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
To answer that question. Also, what else did I watch? Oh yes, I watched WandaVision. The new episode. First time I've gotten to watch it. Without risk of being spoiled. Because most of the time it comes out on Friday. I have to wait till I get off. And if I go anywhere on the internet for even a split second.
Yeah, you're going to get spoiled galore.
Right. It's a good episode.
Yes.
I have been humming the song at the end of that episode all week.
Okay. Sounds like I need to catch up. I'm on episode 2.
Yes, you need to catch up. Also, that day, another show came out, a legacy show. Came out originally back in the 70s. Has 5 seasons. When it was released over here, it was originally released on CBS.
That's right.
I don't know what that is, because nothing about that is the Muppets.
Yeah, Muppet. It's a Muppet. No, correction.
Okay.
That's a puppet,
That's
not a Muppet.
Not a Muppet.
Yeah, exactly.
Muppets have marionette arms.
Right?
I don't know what you're doing.
Marionette.
Moving on.
Yeah.
I watched a couple episodes there. The ones I'm going to throw out if you want to, if you've never seen the Muppet Show and want a good selection of episodes to watch.
Yeah.
I will suggest The Stars of Star Wars, which includes Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker. I did say that separately on purpose.
Yes.
R2-D2, C-3PO, and Chewbacca. Also, at one point, Miss Piggy is sporting Leia buns.
I've seen that clip.
Yes.
I think everybody's seen that clip.
So that's a good one. Also, Alice Cooper on The Muppet Show.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes. Also, Johnny Cash. Was a good one. And last but not least, I'm going to suggest the final episode, which had what's his name? Igor from Young Frankenstein. Oh, Barcelona. Marty Feldman.
Marty Feldman. Okay.
Yes. They did an episode on that one that was based off 1001 Arabian Nights. Including...
Which one? There's a lot of them.
They had 5 stories.
Okay.
They did Aladdin.
Of course.
They did, I don't remember the first one. They also did the Patent Office at Kitty Hawk as an Arabian Nights story.
Okay. Interesting.
And Marty Feldman, a guy in the 80s, was Scheherazade. You know, the wife who's telling all the stories.
Oh, that is so funny. Oh my gosh.
Telling it to the Swedish chef playing the Sultan.
It's like, yeah, don't kill me. Be like, I'll tell you all these stories for infinity and beyond. Oh my gosh. That's one of the things you kind of lack in nowadays entertainment. You get this, you're like, yeah, it's more skits, it's slapstick,
but
what have you.
There's
but
some funny moments. It's right out of nowhere. So yeah, I watched that, and I pretty much, outside of a bunch of YouTube videos, is what I watched. Playing wise, I beat a game last night.
Really? What did you beat?
Mega Man 2 on the NES.
Ah.
Now, granted, I didn't play it on the NES. I played it on the Nintendo Switch.
Makes sense.
Which has a rewind feature.
Very good point.
Used liberally. I did beat him, though. I beat the whole thing, even if I had to rewind every time I nearly died, and I just barely won because I really got really good with that rewind, so I could rewind and then jump a little bit more and get that little lead bubble up there. It's like, anyway. So yeah, I watched. I did play that, and I also played some. What was that game? I played some of. Well, I got back into Animal Crossing.
Oh, okay.
I restarted Animal Crossing.
Well, I'm just gonna say this. That's one game I don't quite understand. But like, yeah, I know it's farming and like exploring and that kind of stuff. That's as far as I understand about it.
In some ways, it is an iPhone game, but without the pay to win mechanics.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It's just kind of a nice, relaxing game. You get these little. You get these little quests or goals that you have to do in order to get stuff done.
Ah.
You kind of just turn it on. You kind of just, after a long, hard day of work, you chill.
So you don't go to a karaoke bar and karaoke heavy metal.
I have not gotten KK Slider to come to my island yet, so we'll see.
Okay. Hopefully someone got that joke.
I got the joke. I'm just moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what I've been playing and watching. What do we got in the news? Or what have you been watching?
What have I been watching?
I'm sorry, I am so used to going second. What have you been watching?
What have I been watching? So with my temporary roommate, we went through Avengers Ultron, which watching that movie again I thoroughly enjoyed it. I know a lot of people don't like it.
Age of Ultron is required if you're going to watch WandaVision. I'm just putting that at right now.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. No,
I mean, it is required. I'm not just talking about because that's the first movie with both of them. There is a lot of plot points that come from Ultron.
Oh, okay. Well, good. I just recently watched it. Captain America Civil War, or AKA Avengers
3?
Avengers 2.3.
2.5?
Yeah, 2.5. Watched that. We watched Endgame. And on top of that, you go back and rewatch it with the commentary tracks, which is always a lot of fun. And I watched...
See, I like throwing on the English descriptive audio.
Oh, those are fun.
There's one I want to mention, but I will not because that's a spoiler.
Oh, okay.
But I am remembering an animated movie I watched, which is on the list to do eventually, but has not made it onto our schedule yet. Megamind was the first movie I watched with one of these English descriptive audio tracks on.
Really?
Yeah. My favorite part is there at the beginning before they've actually said the superhero's actual name. All they've referred to him, or all Megamind has referred to the guy as his super happy goody two shoes or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And the English descriptive lady keeps having to say, super happy goody two shoes fights Megamind. She has to keep saying stuff like that.
Wow.
To describe what he's doing. And it was just so funny to listen to.
Man.
We needed to put that movie on the list at some point.
Agreed.
We've already got half the year scheduled.
That is true. That's one thing when you...
So now that we actually schedule stuff, it's gotten really easy to overschedule.
Yeah, that is true. I watched The Mask of Zorro with Antonio Banderas, Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Yes.
And
Odin himself.
And oh, come on. Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yes, Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yeah, which, fun fact, she's Welsh.
Really? I would have assumed she was Spanish.
No, she's Welsh.
She plays a very good Spanish woman.
She does, but she's actually from Welsh. She's
all right.
I also got back into watching Thundercats 1985, which was my jam as a kid. And loving... I mean, it's corny, but the animation in that series is... I mean, like, yeah, everyone talks about the theme song and the...
It's because the theme song is epic.
Yeah, agreed.
It's the same reson why everyone talks about the DuckTales theme song. It's not that the show was bad.
Yeah.
It's just the theme song was really good.
That is true. So be like, there are moments in this animation that just be like, oh my gosh, like rivals new, like brand new animation in some regards. But man, it's so good. Now, granted, if you want to watch Thundercats 1985, you can watch it on Hulu right now.
Along with 2011.
Yes, and go check out our
and I think technically, unfortunately, Roar is on there too.
Yeah, well, Roar I think it's behind it.
It can fall off of a cliff for all I care.
Yeah.
I'm not even a big Thundercats fan, and I look at this and going, what were you people thinking?
Yeah. Watching the first 2 episodes, it's like, okay.
The ugliest character designs I've ever seen.
Agreed.
Mostly because the original character designs they're based off of do not lend themselves well to this art style.
Exactly. Other than that, I think that's all I've watched, actually, and that's a lot to watch through a week.
Yeah. We both had a lot of time.
Yeah, a lot of time. And a lot of be like, yeah, I want to go play in the snow, but this will just look weird.
Or, I want to go play in the snow, but it's ice.
Yeah.
Lots of ice. Too much ice.
I do.
After that freezing rain came in Wednesday?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, everything was ice.
Good night.
Now, the funny thing was, speaking of the snow apocalypse of 2021, where I work, I get to interact with a bunch of people and, get their opinions of how was your winter wonderland? And most adults would like to roll their eyes like, oh my gosh, thank the Lord it's over. And when you talk to kids, it's like, oh my gosh, it was so much fun. Like getting to play in the snow and you get the two comparisons. Like the kids were like, we're slipping.
The kids weren't worried about whether or not they were going to eat.
Yeah, exactly. And having power and, having running water and all that good stuff. Because kids are more, they're not more in tune to what's, going on in the world. They're in tune to what's going on in their little world. So other than that, it was a very interesting day when it comes to that regard. Either way, that is what I've been watching.
All right. We'll continue talking as we talk about the news.
Yes. Well, news-wise, it's kind of slow. Minus the Warner Brothers is releasing the movie Tom and Jerry, the live-action hybrid, to theaters, I believe, this Friday.
And to HBO Max.
HBO Max. That is true.
Although, if I remember correctly, the HBO Max versions, these are only like 1080p, whereas the theatrical version is the full, 8K? Is that what they're up to now in theaters?
Yeah, it's 8K.
I never remember. I'd still rather watch it in the theater, and the COVID don't scare me enough to keep me away.
Exactly. Yeah, so we most likely will wind up doing a reaction to Tom and Jerry. Mm-hmm. Even though it wasn't originally part of the schedule, so we're shifting things around a little bit.
Not too much. I mean, we're just throwing in one and putting off another thing we had a little bit of wiggle room on.
Yeah, exactly. So we will be doing a reaction probably this Sunday or Monday.
The episode will probably come out Monday, depending on how quickly I get it edited. Maybe Monday evening.
Yes. So, yeah, I believe that's all on the news as far as I can understand. There was a few television announcements, but there again, we're an anime movie podcast, so
we do TV shows from time to time.
Yeah, eventually, every once in a while, it's called the Cellcast the Animated Series. So go check that out.
Anyway, spoiler-free section of our review of monsters, Batman versus Two-Face. This is, of course, based on the Batman Return of the Caped Crusaders that we reviewed way back in episode 6?
Something like that.
Something like that. It is also based on... So since it is based on that, it is based on the old 60s Batman show.
Yes.
Now, remind me, because it has been a while,
okay,
your thoughts on that on that show. Because the last time we talked about this era of Batman, it was on Movie of the Week podcast when we did Batman the Movie.
Yes. Campy, corny, but funny.
Okay.
As far as I remember, now granted, this was season 1.
And between season 1 and 2.
Yeah, but season 1 and 2. Nuance. I remember enjoying it for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I'd never seen the series. I didn't grow up watching the series like you did.
I didn't grow up watching most of it. Most of what I watched was Batman the Movie.
That's true.
There were a couple episodes that were on TV at the time, but the rights situation made putting it on TV afterwards kind of a headache. There's a reason it didn't get on home video until 5 years ago.
Right.
Ever on home video until 5 years ago.
Yeah, my primary resource for that series, there again, was Batman the movie.
Yeah,
and
like most people.
Yeah, I watched it. My parents rented it, and I was like, "This is not Batman," because I'm thinking Tim Burton's Batman.
Yes,
or Joe Schumacher Batman.
Let's stick with Tim Burton Batman if you're going to mention that era.
Oh, Batman Forever was a pretty good movie.
And I like Batman and Robin, but for reasons the director doesn't want me to.
Yeah. But, yeah, so that when I watched that, I was like, what in the world is this? And I didn't have any appreciation for it at the time. having rewatched it for the Movie of the Week podcast, I do have a much deeper appreciation for the film and what it was.
Mm-hmm.
This film was made in what time?
That film was made in 1967.
Yeah, 67. So, like, understanding the culture and understanding what was going on. And definitely the campiness is up to, like, 20.
Mm-hmm.
But,
so, compared to Return of the Caped Crusaders.
Yeah.
Which did you prefer?
Oh. I don't know. I'm torn. I mean, like, the villain in this movie, even though, there again, it's corny and campy. I think I prefer the villain in this movie compared to...
Well, there's a good reason for that, but we'll get to that when we get to the other side.
Yes, we will. There again, I enjoyed it. Kind of like the last one. It's campy, it's corny. It's, oh my gosh, they got this actor to play this villain.
Yes.
And
and they went to a lot of trouble to make him look like he did back then.
Yes, they did. It was very interesting. Other than that, it was an enjoyable watch.
Okay.
What about you?
So I first watched this Christmas of what year did this come out? 2018?
Let's see.
You do the research on this part normally.
Yes. This movie
I think it was 2018.
One moment. It was released 2017.
2017. So I watched this Christmas night, 2017, on an iPad.
Been there.
And I remember thinking, this is not as good as the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the second time I've watched it, and I think I did enjoy it more this time.
Okay.
It is good. I think it's, at this point, it was starting to lean heavily on, let's make everything abandoned and have signs that it's abandoned on everything. That was getting a little annoying.
Yeah.
Because the first one didn't do it that much. They did it a couple times because it was funny. But here, the signs were getting a little ridiculous at points.
Agreed.
The story is good, even though it's not the story I was expecting them to do.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting it to be more on kind of a campier version of Harvey Dent turning into becoming Two-Face originally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I was expecting it to be more like, and that's not what the story is, even though we get that in here.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's an interesting concept, and I liked it. So yeah, I enjoyed Batman versus Two-Face, and I'm actually sad that I don't think we're ever going to get any more in this series.
Possibly.
And it'd be a little hard considering this was the last film Adam West made before he died.
Mm-hmm.
Which is sad.
Yeah, agreed. That's like, you never know. They could continue using another voice actor.
True. If they can get someone who can get that Adam West feel. I mean, they still got Burt Ward.
Yeah.
And they still got Julie Newmar.
Mm-hmm.
And technically, they can bring in Lee Merriweather.
Yes. Which I thought was a very interesting cameo in this film.
We'll get to that.
We will.
We will get to that. So yeah, it's an enjoyable film. If you like classic Batman 66, definitely give this a watch. It is worth it. If you are just mildly curious about what a campy version of Two-Face looks like,
oh yeah,
watch the movie. There is a lot of fun stuff in here. It is not like the show. It's not meant to be serious. It's meant to be satirical, and it's meant to be more of a comedy than anything else. Because it is based on the idea of playing the comics from the 60s. I always have to remind people this. This is based on Batman of the 60s.
Yes.
Taking what was in those comics and playing it straight. Mm-hmm. Treating it all like it's serious.
Yes.
That's the joke. And a lot of times they can do a lot of good satire with it. So, I guess if we don't have anything else, we'll hit the bumper and then jump to spoiling this thing.
Exactly.
All right, so join us on the other side, and we'll see you then.
To the Vet Cave.
Ray. Wrong? Okay. This progress is a part of Christian Geek Central Network. Wrong. Hey, Scoop. What are you doing, man? Or I don't know. I'm supposed to be reading an ad. All right, hold on. Give me it. Or okay.
All right. This podcast is part of the Christian Geek Central Network at ChristianGeekCentral.com.
There you can find a collection of blogs and podcasts working together to bring you some of the best content on the web for Christian geeks, such as the Retro Rewind podcast. Join Francisco Ruiz, Paul the Master Interrupter Powers, and a special guest every week as they discuss movies and video games from 15 or more years ago, rating them either classic, nostalgic, or tragic. Also, we are a part of Pop Americana, where you can enjoy other shows like Franchise Fatigue. Do you like movies? Of course you do. I bet you even like big movie franchises like Star Wars, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Indiana Jones. And obviously, since you listen to us, you must like listening to movie reviews. But what if I were to tell you there is a podcast that reviews film series one movie at a time? You like that? Well, then go check out the Franchise Fatigue podcast over on your favorite podcast catcher and listen to James and Gabe give an in-depth analysis and review on every movie in your favorite franchise. The following is a spoiler-filled review for the movie Batman vs. Two-Face. Listener discretion is advised. Batman vs. Two-Face was directed by Rick Morales, and he directed the episodes of the show Beware the Batman.
Uh-huh.
It was written by Michael Jelenic, who wrote episodes of Teen Titans Go.
Mm-hmm.
And it was written by James Tucker, who also did Scooby-Doo and Batman, The Brave and the Bold. That might be another one we'll have to think about.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
Getting into the cast, playing Batman and Bruce Wayne, we have Adam West.
Yes.
In his final film role, as we said earlier. He also played a character named Ace Hollywood Chicken in Chicken Little, a movie I've not seen yet.
Wow. Yeah, a movie we will eventually get around to doing.
Mm-hmm. Burt Ward plays Robin and Dick Grayson. And
Toledo Batman.
in an episode... Okay, you don't watch SpongeBob SquarePants.
No, I
so
don't.
You know nothing about SpongeBob SquarePants.
No, all I know is
You
she's just
don't-
sponge underwater.
You don't know who Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy are, do you?
No.
Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy are pretty much making fun of Adam West and Burt Ward
Of
and
course.
Batman. They got Burt Ward to play young Barnacle Boy in an episode.
Oh, that's genius.
Yeah.
That is genius.
William Shatner plays Two-Face and Harvey Dent. And of course, he is Captain James Tiberius Kirk in Star Trek the original series. And Star Trek the animated series.
I don't believe in no-win
No-win scenarios.
There it goes. Thank you.
Julie Newmar reprises her role as Catwoman. And in Batman Brave and the Bold episode Chill of the Night, she played Martha Wayne.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Dumas, Joker, and the Bookworm were played by... it's Desmond Dumas, Joker, and the Bookworm, were played by Jeff Bergman, and he is the current Bugs Bunny and Sylvester and Yosemite Sam.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Serena Irwin plays Dr. Harleen Quinzel, and she played SpongeBob's mom in SpongeBob SquarePants.
There's a lot of interesting connections in this one.
It's a weird connection.
Weird connections.
Thomas Lennon played Chief O'Hara and the prison warden, and in the movie Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, he played Eddie the computer.
Okay, that's a movie I have not seen.
I need to get you to see that, even if we don't get to do it for Movie of the Week podcast. You'll hate it, but I'll enjoy it.
Okay.
I'll enjoy watching you squirm.
Okay, got it.
Lucy Lee Diamond was played by Lee Merriweather, and she played Betty Jones in the television series Barnaby Jones, and of course she was Comrade Kitanya Irena Titania Kerenska Alasov from the Moscow Bugle. Her friends call her Kitska.
Wow.
Catwoman from Batman, the movie.
Yes.
William Salyers
played the Penguin. And he played Otto Octavius in Spider-Man on PS4. Lynn Marie Stewart played Aunt Harriet. And do you remember the old movie American Graffiti?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
She played Bobby.
Oh, okay. I
don't remember which person that is in that movie.
Yeah, me either. I haven't watched the movie in years, but
Yes.
it's so good.
Jim Ward played Commissioner Gordon and Hugo Strange. And he played Captain Quark in Ratchet and Clank. In other words, for those of you in the video stream, the episode that Leslie from Geek Devotions is playing next door, who just raided our channel.
Oh, fun.
That's okay. I'm just pointing this out. This was our first raid.
Oh, that's fun.
So
We got
congratulations, Leslie. You have perfect timing.
Good
Because
job.
I just mentioned the character, the actor who played Captain Quark in Ratchet and Clank.
Wow, perfect. Perfect.
Hey, Ashley, how's it going?
Oh, wow, we're getting a bunch of them over here.
Oh,
Awesome.
yeah.
Hi, guys.
I'm going to leave this in the audio. I don't care.
Yeah.
Steve Weber played Alfred and one of the Two-Face henchmen. And do you remember the television show Wings?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Do you remember the character of Brian Hackett, the pilot of Sandpiper Air?
Yes.
He played him.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Wally Wingert played the Riddler and King Tut. And he was Rufus Shinra in Final Fantasy VII Advent Children.
Nice. Okay.
And our Kingdom Hearts connection is Wally Wingert.
Okay.
Because in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, he played one of the Lost Boys, Cubby.
Cubby. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So, yeah. While I talk to these people in chat, why don't you
Okay.
tell us about info and stuff?
All right. Good deal. All right. So, info and stuff. Not a whole lot to go on ever since it was direct to video. All right. This movie, it has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Its audience score is 60.
That's actually higher than I was expecting.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously you can rent it most everywhere for like $2.99 or $3.99, maybe $1.99. Most places on your streaming platforms. Production was obviously Warner Bros. Animation and DC Entertainment. It was distributed by Warner Bros. Just call it Warner Brothers.
I am wondering why you keep saying bros like it's the Mario
it's
Brothers.
officially Warner Bros.
We're not talking
Warner
about
Bros.
Mario Bros.
No, it's Warner Bros.
Actually, no one calls it Mario Bros. either. I don't know why I'm
No.
saying that.
No, but technically it's Warner. It's Warner Bro. Warner Bro.
Warner Brothers.
Yeah, Warner Brothers. Home Entertainment. It was released. Its official release was at New York Comic Con, October 8th, 2017. Its worldwide distribution was October 10th, 2017. And on the exact same day, it was released on Blu-ray and DVD. Batman vs. Two-Face earned 248 over $200,000 from domestic DVD sales and 823,000 plus change, whatever, from domestic Blu-ray sales, bringing the total of $1.1 million on home video earnings.
Okay.
So yes, it made okay money.
About what you normally expect from these
Right.
straight to video DC movies.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're hit or miss, if we're being honest.
They are, and some of them are just downright fantastic.
Right.
And some I'm hoping someday we can get around to doing some more of those. Maybe like dedicate a month to them, maybe?
We do need to do a couple, because we've done a lot of animated Batmans. As much as I enjoy this one, I kind of want to touch on some other superheroes for a while.
Okay,
before we jump into another Batman. But that's just me.
Yeah,
that's just me.
So just on the fly, we can do a month of that.
We will discuss this off air, but
exactly.
I am open for it. I will say that.
Yeah.
So, to the people who are in Raid who do not want to be spoiled, I do want to mention that we did drop the spoiler warning before y'all jumped in here. And I'm about to spoil the heck out of it as I read the entire summary of all the events that happen in this movie. So if you don't want to be spoiled, we'll see you over in Retro Reruns podcast.
La 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 la.
So anyway, jumping into the summary. Batman and Robin meet Gotham District Attorney Harvey Dent at a top-secret demonstration hosted by Professor Hugo Strange. With his assistant, Dr. Harley Quinzel, Strange operates a machine called the Evil Extractor, designed to siphon evil from criminals and store it in a vat. Batman scoffs, noting there is no easy path to righteousness, but the machine does work. Too well. As the Joker and other volunteers laugh maniacally in an attempt to overload the machine, the containment vat explodes, drenching Dent with liquefied evil, which scars half his face and changes his personality. Harvey, now rechristened Two-Face, embarks on a criminal career, as seen in the opening credits, all of which his attempts are foiled by the dynamic duo. He is eventually whisked to a hospital where his face has been given reconstructive surgery. His sanity has apparently been restored as well, and he is allowed to resume crime fighting as the assistant to the assistant district attorney. 6 months later, the dynamic duo engage King Tut and his henchmen, who have stolen a biplane and attacked an Egyptian-themed event that Aunt Harriet and Alfred Pennyworth are attending. While the civilians escape, the heroes are subdued by Tut's goons. They escape a death trap using bat jets in their shoes and capture Tut and his men, but their loot is taken by Two-Face's henchmen, unknown to Batman and Robin. Batman, Robin, Commissioner Gordon, and Chief O'Hara interrogate McElroy as Harvey waits in the shadows, with O'Hara constantly hitting the professor on the head with his truncheon to switch his personality with Tut's stubborn attitude, causing himself to bring back McElroy. McElroy's lawyer, Lucy Lee Diamond, intervenes and ushers them out of the room so that she can speak to him. At Professor McElroy's trial, she implicates that the concussion is nothing more than a threat to a mild-mannered man. Chief O'Hara tearfully confesses to hitting McElroy, and Harvey calls Batman as his next witness. But Professor McElroy himself admits his guilt, ready to suffer the minimum penalty of being rehabilitated in prison. After the sentencing, Harvey shares a highball with Bruce Wayne, much to Dick's annoyance at bearing the hardships of a third wheel. Harvey is then due to attend a charity for underprivileged twins at the Winning Pair Casino, just as Bruce and Dick resume their identities as Batman and Robin once more. A package has arrived at Commissioner Gordon's office, a World Atlas book marked for Batman, with its pages eaten away in 3 holes. Robin surmises the culprit to be Bookworm, and the duo race off in the Batmobile to find him at Gotham City Library, where a fight ensues, and the 3 priceless books that Bookworm had his eyes on have disappeared. Batman and Robin deduce that the stolen books were all about duality, but Two-Face has already been reformed, so they try to find another way behind it. Regardless, they head to an abandoned sign factory with Two-Face and his henchmen waiting for them. After defeating the goons, Two-Face pins them with a large number 2, and the flip of his coin landing on the right side spares their lives. Once they've left, Batman believes that Harvey has made a lot of enemies in his career, and they are all out to destroy it. Meanwhile, Harvey is having some problems of his own after he makes a phone call to none other than Two-Face, who kidnaps Professor Strange as part of their scheme. Robin is punished to his room by Batman after nearly getting into a row about Harvey's involvement in Two-Face's plans, and Catwoman, who by now has been stood up, escapes her cell by switching places with Lucy Lee Diamond, forcing Harvey to the laboratory. Robin is ambushed by Two-Face, and Professor Strange corrupts him with some of the gas from the extractor that mutates the left side of his body. Batman is forced to fight his beloved sidekick, who cures him back at the Batcave, following Two-Face to the casino, where he is in fact revealed to be Dent, having suppressed his bad side, a la Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Once the dynamic duo are strapped to a large silver dollar, he unmasks Batman and deduces Robin's true identity. Then Two-Face invites Joker, the Penguin, Riddler, Mr. Freeze, Egghead, Shame, Clock King, and Catwoman to an auction for the highest bidder of Batman's true identity. With Catwoman's help, Batman and Robin defeat the villains, but Two-Face gets away on the biplane stolen by King Tut, intending to use the evil gas to remake Gotham City in his image. The dynamic duo manage to shoot him down towards a flaming factory where Batman goes one-on-one with Two-Face, who completely takes over Harvey's body. In a battle of wits, Batman urges Harvey to regain self-control, and he does, defeating Two-Face for good as they escape the factory. The next morning, Batman and Robin use the Batwing to cure the infected Gothamites. Months later, Harvey still appears to have repressed Two-Face and forgotten Batman's secret identity. He holds a bachelor auction at stately Wayne Manor, with the Caped Crusader himself as the first bachelor. Batman appears before everyone, and to his delight ends up having the first person to bid for him being none other than Catwoman.
Wow.
All right, getting into the trivia. Two-Face was among the more prominent, long-established villains who never appeared in the original Batman 66. Harvey Dent was drawn to resemble William Shatner as he looked at the time. Harleen Quinzel appears despite not being created until 25 years after Batman 66.
With Batman the Animated Series.
Exactly. Desmond Dumas was based on the narrator of the Batman 66, which was played in an uncredited role by series producer William Dozier. This is the second time William Shatner has shared a role with an actor from Star Wars.
Really?
Yes. In this movie, he, of course, plays Harvey Dent, who was also played by Billy D. Williams, who played Lando Calrissian.
True.
And Billy D. Williams played both Harvey Dent and Two-Face separately in Batman Returns. Yeah, Batman Returns. That's the one he's... Oh, it's the original Batman.
Yeah, it's Batman 89.
It's been a while. In the original Batman, plus he plays Two-Face himself in the Lego Batman movie.
Yes.
Also, how much do you know of the Twilight Zone?
I know William Shatner was in it.
Yes. He was in the episode Terror at 40,000 Feet.
Yeah, that's never a fun idea.
It's the one where William Shatner keeps seeing something out on the wing tearing up the plane. This episode was remade when in the color era, like in the 80s.
Okay.
Do you know who played his role?
Adam West?
No. John Lithgow.
Okay.
And do you know what John Lithgow's connection to Star Wars is?
Remind me.
In the NPR radio dramas of Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, he played Yoda.
Oh my gosh, that's deep cuts.
Yes!
So deep cuts.
That I thought was so interesting I had to leave it in there.
Wow.
Two-Face, however, was originally set to appear in Season 4 of Batman 66, but Season 4 never got made. The script, written by Harlan Ellison, though, was finished and called The Two-Way Crimes of Two-Face. This was served as the starting point for this movie.
Okay.
But Harlan Ellison is not credited, which is sad.
Yeah.
Also, Harlan Ellison, for those of you who don't know, but do know your Star Trek, the original series, he's the one who wrote the episode The City on the Edge of Forever.
Okay.
Just throwing that out there.
All right.
Last, and most certainly not least, at one point, there was plans to include a cameo of Linda Carter as Wonder Woman.
I heard about this.
It never happened.
Sad.
She's available. We know this because she has a cameo in Wonder Woman 84.
Yes, she does.
So she could have pulled it off, I believe, because she definitely still has that voice, I think, from her time as Wonder Woman in, was it 1975?
Yeah.
Or 74? I don't remember.
Something like that.
So, yeah. That's the trivia. And because I think you have more to talk about. I have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
But I think I want you to go first this time.
Okay. My number one about this movie, oh my gosh, it has to be William Shatner as Two-Face.
I'll agree on this.
It's so corny. There again, it's based in the 60s series, but oh my gosh, it was just the pure veracity of the character, of his the dualism of Harvey. I want to say Harley, but Harvey.
Yes.
Harvey Dent and Two-Face. Now,
I want to see a scene between the Harley and Two-Face in this movie, but the lines be from Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. I can't believe I kissed you. Must have been your lifelong ambition.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, just the fact that like William Shatner, the man who is known for being James T. Kirk from Star Trek, is playing freaking Two-Face, and he kills it. Now, granted, William Shatner is like 90 years old.
Actually, I'm not sure how old he is.
Yeah, he's roughly about 90.
Well, I mean, I know Adam West was about that age during this. '89. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, he's close.
I can't believe any of those guys are that old.
Yeah.
Ironically, Patrick Stewart is only 9 years younger than he is.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah. Just be like, wow. Just like, it's so, it'll be like when I first learned that, oh my gosh, it's William Shatner. And I'm like, okay, he's gonna Shatner it up like crazy. But no, he didn't. He played it straight like the character. And I was just like, and there again, like I said, with the duality of the character and his constant trying to maintain control or give into that that wicked and evil desire that he now has to the toxin. I don't know, Bill. I just found it very intriguing. So yeah, my number one is William Shatner as Two-Face.
I'm going to throw that in at number one since you've already mentioned it.
Okay.
William Shatner does an amazing job in this.
Agreed.
Admittedly, when I think of William Shatner roles, I of course think Kirk.
Yeah.
And I think of him delivering his lines like this. Mm-hmm. You just now noticed I had that up.
Oh, I know it's been up. I've been playing with it the entire time.
I haven't noticed anyway. So I expect him to sound like that. And yet, what we get is actually a good performance.
It is.
I mean, I know it's voice acting, and so who knows what he's physically doing. But maybe it feels like he's actually, I mean, as Two-Face, he's got a ferocity to his voice that I have never heard out of him before.
Yeah. Like the range is so different.
And then as Harvey, you really do feel like he's scared.
Yeah.
When he's having to deal with his other half. Mm-hmm. And I find that so interesting in Shatner. Because I am not used... I mean, I've watched a lot of Star Trek. I have seen a range there. Because I've seen the same range, but him allowing to actually be allowed to overact, because he's doing a bit of overacting.
Yeah.
It kind of comes with the territory of this movie.
True.
But him, it felt like in this one he was not holding back, whereas in a lot of times in Star Trek, because he still had to be playing the captain of the ship, you don't get a lot of emotion out of him a lot of times.
Yes.
Because the character shouldn't be showing that much emotion. It should be a subdued emotion if you see anything, because of who the character is supposed to be. You don't get that here. You get, I'm pouring all my evil into Two-Face and all my meekness into Harvey.
And all his fear and anxiety.
Anxieties. It's like,
it's so amazing how performance.
You look, okay, admittedly, I look into these things, and I look at this as this is all going to be goofy, campy fun. Mm-hmm. I swear he must have studied Frank Gorshin, who played Riddler in the original show, who always had fun on stage. Mm-hmm. He looks like he had about that much fun doing this. Had to have. I really wish, I've never gone through the special features, but I really hope there's at least some bit of his recording session while he's Two-Face, because I want to see him acting physically as Two-Face.
Sadly, there isn't.
That is so sad, because that would be awesome to watch.
Yeah. It's just like there's so much like you said, there's so much depth and emotion with his performance, and there again, William Shatner, it's over the top, and I'm gonna talk like this, and no, it's that split personality, and like his performance as Two-Face in some instances it's generally frightening. In some instances, like, oh my gosh, this is a really threatening character.
Far more threatening than any other villain in Batman 66.
Oh yeah, it'd be like you said, be like everything's campy and it's corny, and I was like, oh my gosh, Be like, if they were able to do this back at like, if season 4 would have been able to come, be like, he had William Shatner as his character. Oh my gosh!
I think the directing would have toned it down a little.
Yeah, that's true.
Because here's the thing about Batman 66. If you've never watched it, it is kind of designed for kids. This, as much as goofy and funny as these two movies try to be, they're not designed for kids. They're designed for people who like a little bit of joking around with the Batman canon. This show, neither this one or Return of the Caped Crusaders would ever have been done.
Yeah.
I believe, in the course of the show. And that's why I don't really consider them as a part of that universe. I consider them based on that universe.
Okay.
But they are very much going, oh, we're still going to do darker modern stories because that's how Batman is nowadays and that's what sells.
Uh-huh.
We're just throwing this campy element into it and it works. Don't get me wrong. It works. That mixture works here far better than I think it does in Tim Burton's.
Yeah.
Because the campiness in Tim Burton's can turn people off. I have noted from those movies. If they've never seen them before and they are of the younger set, whose first Batman movie was Christopher Nolan's.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
I'm Batman.
Anyway. But yeah, I love William Shatner's performance. It's good. So yeah, what's your number 2 like?
My number 2 like, the police's inability to do anything. They're the most spineless police force I've ever heard of.
I love the scene. Chief O'Hara, do you think we could do this? Well, if we tighten up the police force, we do all this stuff, we should be able to beat back Two-Face and all the evil in this city.
Right.
Oh, who are we kidding? We need to call Batman.
I was like, oh my gosh. It's like, okay.
You admit it. You finally admit it.
Where's Commissioner Gordon when you need him?
He was in that scene.
That's true. He was. Okay, where's
old Commissioner Gordon?
That is true. Where's Bullock?
That's the question. I think Bullock wouldn't have made it that far because he's too hard-nosed. But anyway.
That is true. That would have been
that police force.
That is so true. But yeah, it's the police's inability, and it's so funny that they're so dependent on Batman for everything. They can't do anything by themselves. They become so, I guess the lack of a word would be dependent on Batman for everything. And it's funny. It's funny to watch. I'm thinking like, man, you guys are just like, what do you just you roll over and show your belly every time? To quote
pretty much.
Yeah, the quote Tony Stark. But yeah, it's the campiness of the police force and their inability to anything without the Batman and his boy Wonder. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is the fact that they actually used 2 of the stupidest Batman villains.
Oh my god!
To ever be in the show, and I am of course talking about Bookworm. And King Tut. I have seen King Tut in the original. The guy they got playing King Tut in this, he studied. He must have gone back and watched the original King Tut in the show and how he did, because it's like, oh, I hear. Are you sure this isn't the same actor? It can't be, because that actor was fairly old at the time. But I was like, oh my word. You're hitting it out of the ballpark with this, one of the lamest characters in Batman's canon. And then you get Bookworm, which is that entire sequence with Bookworm is funny.
Yeah.
I especially like aren't you forgetting something? And then he goes and everyone takes their glasses off. So that you can't hit a guy in glasses.
No.
Which ironically, if they left their glasses on, they might have been able to hit Batman.
Yeah. You know, being someone who has to wear specs, like, yeah, trying to hit somebody without these things on, it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
Even though I've never tried to hit anybody. Yeah, that was interesting to say the least. Let's say that. Oh, gosh. All right. So, my third and final. My gosh. Oh, it's got to be a scene. It's got to be a scene where Catwoman gets her little kitty cat to break her out of jail. And then throws
Hecate. Her cat Hecate.
Hecate. That's an interesting name.
Do you know what it is?
No, I don't.
Hecate was the goddess of witches in an ancient culture. I can't remember which one.
Really? Okay, I didn't know that. Interesting. Okay, so Hecate, the little black cat, breaks or like scratches.
Like cats do.
Yeah, exactly. Mine is
somehow scratches the lock and boop, it's open.
yeah. Wow. Okay, Hecate, you're like one heck of a cat burglar, and you're just a feline, little kitty cat. And then what is the attorney who's played by who?
Lee Merriweather.
Lee Merriweather wakes up and she's dressed as Catwoman.
And she looks just like she does in the movie. And it was at this point, it crossed my mind. Holy crap, that's Lee Merriweather. I didn't recognize the voice.
I mean, like I had heard Mayweather was in this film, but I had no idea who she was playing. And it's like, wait, oh my gosh, now she's Catwoman. And I thought that was like perfect.
She's not Catwoman at the end of the movie, but she does end her last scene on the thing is her in the Catwoman suit, and you're going, you're about to go break Batman's heart.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Yeah, that was so fun. That was so much fun.
I'm going to build off of that because meta humor and meta references are my number 3 like.
Okay.
Just going over a couple here. Lee Merriweather, of course. Mm-hmm. I may be wrong here, but I think Two-Face's line, either get the lead out or I'll put the lead in, I swear is from something else.
Yeah, probably.
And I don't know if it's Two-Face who said it, but I swear that's got to be a line from another thing. The Dr. Harleen Quinzel being in this.
Yes.
For no apparent reason other than I'm going to transition now into my first dislike.
Oh, you're like, let me bounce on that real fast.
Okay.
All right, so
I had a feeling that's why I let you know I need to transition.
Okay, so just really quick. So there are a few scenes here and there are kind of homages to other things within the Batman universe.
As always. So there was that in the first one too. Yes.
So you have the very famous meme in which Batman slaps Robin.
Yes.
That scene was hilarious.
It's like finally
that happened. And then
it's like when you finally hear Picard say, "Shut up, Wesley."
So, and then you get the scene where Batman and Robin are flying away from and Robin having fun shooting the civilians.
Yes. Boy Wonder, you need some video games.
But the fact to be like they fly by the commissioner and Batman waves at him.
Yeah.
That's directly from Batman Forever. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. That was so much fun. But just like all these little meta jokes here and there that kind of throw homage to little things
different
like
parts in the Batman universe.
Yeah, exactly. Even the unused script for this movie is based off. Frank Miller used it in his Batman, The Dark Knight Returns comic, because it's the exact same thing that. First, I understand. I haven't read it, but what I understand is that Two-Face makes an appearance and he does the exact same thing. He's been healed, but Two-Face is still there under the surface, and it's just the exact same way. I was like, oh my gosh! So yes, So what is your
transitioning into my first dislike?
Yes.
Actually does deal with the fact that Harley is in this because it makes me realize that they had plans for this series going forward. Because they brought in Harley. I would love to see a 60s era Harley. Mm-hmm. That would be interesting to see. You can tell there was instances. You bring in Hugo Strange, who also never was in the original show.
Yeah,
I'm not convinced the character was created by them, but I didn't bother to look up when he was created.
1946.
Okay, so he was created by them.
Yeah, technically he was one of Batman's first villains.
Okay, but at the same time, I don't think he was ever in the show, if I'm remembering correctly.
No, he wasn't.
So you get them in there, and he's obviously being the Hugo Strange that I know, where he's just evil for evil's sake, do science and all that. And then you've got, you have the Joker. They redesigned a lot of the villains to be more where they could do more with it. They brought in King, like I said earlier, King Tut and Bookworm, who knows, and they put in Shane. That's the cowboy who's meant to be, the Shane.
Yeah, from the book Shane. Yeah.
Well, this is Shane.
60s Batman.
I'm pretty sure it predates that.
Probably.
And I'm sure if we got a third one, we would get Condiment King, but we didn't get...
Oh my gosh, Condiment King.
Yeah, that is one of the weirder characters.
Just a little bit.
And it's surprisingly modern when you find out it came from Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah.
But...
I saw that episode. That was weird.
That is a weird episode. Anyway, it sounds like I'm still quoting more likes here, right?
Yeah, it does.
We're not getting any more, as far as we can tell, because how do you do this without Adam West?
Very true.
And unfortunately, after this movie was released posthumously after Adam West's death.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sad Adam West died. Mm-hmm. It happens. He was an old man, though. My understanding is he went peacefully.
Mm-hmm.
And while while that's a shame that Adam West died, the thing is, I don't think they could have Burt Ward come back with Batman with someone else playing Batman without it being Adam West. It doesn't. It will never play like these two movies do.
Probably not.
It just won't.
No, because
I'm not trying to be mean or anything. It's just it's not going to work that well. So the fact that now all the stuff that feels like they were setting up for a franchise of these, a series of these in this Batman 66 universe, we're never going to get.
Yeah.
And that is my first dislike of this, is they were setting up for so many cool things to do in this art style, in this motif that we're never going to get to see.
Yeah.
And that's my first dislike.
My first dislike is, I'm kind of going back to my first like with the relationship between Bruce Wayne Batman and Harvey what do I call him, Harvey Quinn? Harvey Dent, aka Two-Face. The relationship is fine. It's just more that Bruce cannot seem to... Okay, this man is obviously a master criminal. He has been running amok throughout Gotham, destroying lives, and he does everything in his power that he can bring Harvey back into the spotlight. Like he has Harvey's face remade and brings him back in here, even though knowing his past, like, yes, there is forgiveness. I understand that.
Yes.
But, and then you get the second one where be like, obviously Two-Face has done a lot of horrible things to a lot of people, have scarred people for life. And the next thing you know, he's part of the
show. Work back at the district attorney's office again.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, are you crazy? Like, even
I remember sitting there going, no, not even in the 60s would you do this.
No.
Not even in Batman 66 would they have done this. He would have been sent to whatever the 60s equivalent of
Arkham would have been.
No, what's that other town that Blackwing goes to?
Nightwing?
Nightwing. Why did I call him Blackwing?
I don't know.
But anyway, the town that Nightwing is. Bloodhaven.
Bloodhaven.
Send him to Bloodhaven. That's what they do. Whatever the 60s equivalent of Bloodhaven is.
Like, there's the line in which
send him to Metropolis. Let Superman deal with this evil if he eventually turns evil.
Yeah, exactly. You have Bruce Wayne even says like during the final minutes of this movie, where it's like yes, Dent has changed his ways for now.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you freaking crazy? I mean, like, you're letting a man who is obviously he's reformed, that like he still has the multiple personality of Two-Face, which I'll go into my second dislike in a few minutes. It's just like, you are giving this man way too much leadway. This is a serial psychotic individual with a obviously split personality issue, which there again, I'll go into my second issue. Like, Bruce, be like, I know you're friends with the guy, but put this guy in Arkham. Either way, that's it. that is my number one. Like, Harvey is getting way too much leeway. It's not even a leash. He's off the leash. He does whatever he wants. Mm-hmm. And like, okay, like the next time he does something crazy and he turns back into Two-Face, because obviously he could do that. And it's like, oh, like, well, I've got to save my friend again. It's like, dude, be like, save your friend, throw him into Arkham or this equivalent of Arkham, and let him sit there. And don't let him out. Because save all
he'll get out eventually. The Joker gets out.
Yeah, the Joker does get out.
Two-Face will get out. Don't believe me. Believe me. That's how half the episodes start. The known super criminal is in prison and he escapes
again. But either way, it's just more Harvey. I'm gonna keep saying Harley and Harvey. Harvey is given so much leeway by Bruce, and it's annoying beyond belief. So yeah, that is my number one dislike. What is yours?
My number two dislike.
Yes.
In the first movie, Return of the Caped Crusaders, we got a lot of these funny signs, like abandoned frozen food factory.
Yes.
Gravity control on or off when it's opposite of how we would normally think.
Right.
Because technically it makes sense the way they said it, but that's still weird. The camera with the fight scene settings so that it automatically turns in the Dutch angle. You get some of those scenes.
Yes.
And they're kind of clever. They're funny. But the reason they work the way they do is because they're in the background. They come up a few times. They never hit you over the head with the joke.
Yeah.
And then you get to this movie. Mm-hmm. Every building is abandoned.
Yes.
The worst one is in the scene in the flaming factory at the very end.
Oh, good night. That's
with every sign that back that says, "Warning, flammable. It could go any minute." I was thinking, you would not put that on that if it was not going to be, if it was not burning. And if it's burning, what are you doing in the factory?
Uh-huh.
I get the jokey and campiness, but somebody who was doing the backgrounds in this took the joke too far.
Agreed.
And that does annoy me. I mean, I loved the joke in the first one. It's just overplayed here.
Agreed.
And it's one thing when you get the Egyptian bus tour in Gotham. And I'm still sitting there. Why are the high society members taking a tour through Gotham City?
Yeah.
What is there to see in Gotham City?
They've seen it all.
Yeah.
They built probably
Why
all
are
of it.
you not... Why is this not happening on a yacht? Have you tried to walk around on a bus the way they're walking around on the second floor of this bus? You can't do it.
Yeah.
Not very well. Not without falling... Alfred Pennyworth... No, Alfred would be fine because Alfred's a saint and probably could play Batman. Or I think in the show he did have to be Batman for the times when Bruce Wayne needed to be on scene, but Batman needed to be too. Aunt Harriet should be bruised beyond belief.
Yes. Well, she did pass out.
Yes. And so that's the thing. I mean, there is campiness in this thing that I do like, but tone it back a bit. There's campy, and then there's too much campy. You are being more campy than Batman the series was.
Wow. I'm saying it.
Yeah. Because Batman used its campiness for comedic and satirical purposes. This is just being campy to be campy.
True.
In a lot of cases. And most of the time I can let it go. this was happening in Return of the Caped Crusaders, it never got to the point where I was getting annoyed by it. I got annoyed by it in this one.
Oh yeah.
And so yeah, that's how my feelings are on. That's my number 2 dislike. What is your number 2 dislike?
My second dislike. Now this goes a little more. It's more nitpicky about this film. Okay, now the gag of the villain distractor that you can
the evil extractor.
Yeah, the evil extractor. Like you can somehow remove the evil from someone's mind.
I have a defense on this, but continue.
Yes. All right. So the fact to be like this evil distractor.
Extractor, not distractor.
Extractor. Okay.
Distractor is what gets you to look over there. What's going on over there?
Oh, squirrel. Wait a minute. Hold on. Back in. So apparently this I'm going to say it again.
Extractor. Evil extractor.
Evil extractor. Is overloaded and blows up and gives Harvey this split personality. He's just total evil. He's total evil.
And only a split personality.
I
have problems with this part, but continue.
Yeah, either way. So I'm thinking it's like, okay, I understand the logic in which they're going, and like Batman, Bruce Wayne is kind of implying that like evil, like the fact that like, evil only comes from those who are demented or something like that. Something along those lines. Mm-hmm. The only problem is the personality doesn't work that way.
Not in real life.
No, not in real life. And I'm thinking it's like, okay, you're almost making fun of people who suffer from kind of a split personality, which for split personality, if you break it down, it's more of it's someone who has gone through a traumatic event at a younger time in their life. And they have built this defense mechanism where probably some of us, that would be a situation in our life and we would try to work through that situation, where someone who doesn't, they primarily build a wall or build a shield up. And more often than not, they almost create a persona out of it. Mm-hmm. And so whenever a situation arises, say if you are like scared or something like that, that other persona will come out, and it's a false persona. So it's unique in that way, but it's basically the person who is doing all of this. So it's like the example of King Tut.
Yeah.
King Tut, be like, it's the professor wanting to be King Tut. So it's
actually not, that's not how King Tut's done. He literally got a concussion and woke up thinking he was King Tut reborn.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally. Thought he was King Tut reborn.
Okay, well that makes sense.
Literally.
Okay. That's very odd. But just like
there was no split personality thought processes. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I'm now King Tut.
Makes sense. He was working on stuff like that. And it's just like when I'm watching this, and it's like, okay, that's interesting, but it's just it bugged me. It bugged me the entire time I'm watching this. And there again, be like split personality is not. It's not literally a second personality, which people thought in the past that be like, oh, this person must be evil, so they must have had a twin and they ate their twin, so now they have that evil split personality because it's the evil twin, which is completely false.
So, sorry, I'm wanting to interject, but I'm wanting you to finish your point.
Okay, so there again, it's a nitpick of how they portray kind of a split personality. Even the fact that like Harvey himself, like, yes, be like he has been doused with this gas, and it's supposed to make him go crazy or make him go madness. Yeah. Well, all I can think of being a devoted Christian, I think of Romans, and I think of where in the letter it's that Paul is writing and says that God gives them over to their sinful desires and lets them, do whatever. And so that's, for me, it's the outpouring of someone's sin that they're giving into that sin. And so that's what I think as a Christian.
Yeah.
And
modern versions of Two-Face kind of play with that.
Yeah, a little bit. And I do want to say one thing. I'll be like with that negative there planted there. I do want to say that William Shatner's Two-Face was so much better than Tommy Lee Jones's. Because at that point where like Two-Face he flips the coin.
It's been too long since I've seen Batman Forever. I can't even comment.
Okay, so
the only thing I remember from Batman Forever is, I would like to see Jim Carrey play the Riddler, but with a good script.
True. So
I think he can pull the Riddler off.
I agree.
I just think he had a horrible script to work off of.
Yeah. Well, the scene at which I'm referring to is where Riddler and Two-Face have stormed Wayne Manor, and so Two-Face is sitting there in a chair and he's flipping his coin. Well, Two-Face is all about chance. Yeah. So he flips it, and if it goes heads or tails, that's what he goes with. Not in this movie. He literally flips it, it goes to heads, he, shucks it, flips it again, it flips it and flips it and flips it. It's not about chance, it's what he wants. Right. And that has nothing to do with the character. And the way the character is portrayed in this film is so much better. It's more like the actual character. Okay. I'm just saying.
So, my defense of the evil extractor.
Yeah.
In Batman 66, which this movie does pull tons of inspiration from, obviously.
Agreed.
There is evidence that there's a solid evidence between you're either good or evil, and evil could be something that, honestly, from the way they present it,
yeah,
it would make sense that you could pull evil out of somebody.
Okay.
But I would also state that this evil extractor, even though it was sucking evil out of those guys in the beginning and at the end, none of those villains ever became less evil.
That is true.
I would like to point out.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because the way the evil extractor is supposed to work,
the
reason they're testing it, is they can get the evil out, and then they would be good people, good, upstanding members of Gotham City.
Yeah.
And that's not what happens. Which goes to tell me that whatever Hugo Strange is sucking out of these villains is not evil.
Yeah.
It is a byproduct of their evilness.
Yeah.
Because there are plenty of times when, if you watch Batman 66, okay, there is an episode early on in season 1 that just jumps to my mind.
Okay.
Involving the Joker.
Okay.
The Joker, the way it usually happens is the villains would have all their minions, like we see in here. But one of the minions was always a girl that was just happy to be around and to be lovey-dovey on the villain of the week. That sort of thing. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
This poor trapped soul, poor deluded soul, I should say.
Yeah.
Was training under Joker to be a villain herself.
Okay.
She was pitiful at it, for one thing, because she gets captured early on. Well, by the end of, because all these are two-parters, by the end of the two-parter, Aunt Harriet is apparently trying to get her back into society. And she's got her all dressed up like the normal Gothamite women, and you can just kind of see the look of, I have had my soul drained out of me, kind of a look on her face.
Right.
And it kind of feels like that sort of a thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, maybe she had not fully gone into whatever is turning all the villains in Batman 66 evil, but she had a taste of it and kind of wants it back.
Yeah.
And here, I think we see that there is some sort of thing that can be pulled out of the villains that is corrosive to the normal, upstanding members of Gotham City. Because you got to remember, these comics were black. This show was a black and white show.
Yeah.
You were either good or evil, and being good could be just as natural as being evil. Now, as Christians, Reformed Christians, I should say, those who have been forced to hear about Reformed theology for the past 3 or 4 years, I'll put it that way, because I think that's more accurate.
Yeah, thanks one of our guest hosts.
Yes. We don't think that way. We think, as humans are sinful creatures.
Yes, absolutely.
But that's not how humanity is presented in Batman 66,
exactly.
Nor in this.
Yeah.
The villains could be reformed, but technically, because they have to be villains, you can't the show can't reform them.
Yeah.
Because they have to be able to come back next week and be villains.
Mm-hmm.
That's my defense, is they are actually playing true to the universe that it's based on.
Mm-hmm.
That there can be an event that will turn you into a villain, and you can try to get back out of it. And admittedly, of all the villains, I think this is the only version where we see an honorable side to the villain.
Yeah.
Because it's literally the other side of Harvey Dent. It's Harvey Dent versus his other half.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the Jekyll and Hyde situation.
Yeah. Which is played very well.
Yeah, it's played very well. But I don't think if they are playing poorly to the split personality disorder, I don't think it was intentional.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to put in. I think they were trying to play to what Batman used to be and not try to be realistic. Because that's the thing.
I agree with
this showing is not trying to be realistic.
I
and
agree
they are
with you.
playing more to how villains were treated back then.
Yeah.
That's my defense. My third dislike is I don't know if I mentioned when we did the first Batman, we did not do likes and dislikes.
Mm-hmm.
But if we did, this dislike would also be there.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, it doesn't play close enough to Batman 66.
Mm.
There are so many nuances to how the original that show was done that because this is not those writers, while they are trying to mimic the style, they're never going to get it right.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part of it. I mean, the guy who's playing Riddler, I think studied Frank Gorshin's performance as Riddler because he's doing that exactly like he did. Joker, despite does a lot better job in this one than he did in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Penguin is not trying to be Burgess Meredith; he's trying to be Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's the case.
Well, at least he sounds like the wank.
It helps that, and I will let that one slide because they based it more off the Danny DeVito look than they did off of Burgess Meredith's look. But in those movies, while there is in those shows, there's a reason that this Batman is called Bright Knight instead of Dark Knight.
Yeah,
because it's a brighter show.
Agreed.
It's a more fun show. It's not dour and serious.
Mm-hmm.
The general tone of this and of Return of the Caped Crusaders is a little more dour than it needs to be. Now, granted, in Return of the Caped Crusaders, it was actually poking fun at how Batman got darker over the years. Mm-hmm. We don't get that here. But because we're dealing with Two-Face and they're trying to tell really a more modern version, I think, of the Two-Face story than what would have been present during the 66 era.
Yeah.
I could be wrong because I don't know how Two-Face was handled in the Batman comics at this time. Because I've not read a lot of these. But they are trying to tell more of a post-80s story while trying to keep it campy. Mm-hmm. And like I said with how it was sometimes too campy sometimes, I think this film's too dark sometimes.
Agreed.
When you get right down to it, my 2 and 3 could be related to it doesn't keep the balance that the first movie did.
Mm.
And yeah, that's what I'm gonna put it at. This is not as well balanced between campy and dark as the first movie, as Return of the Caped Crusaders was. So yeah, that's my third dislike. What's yours?
My third dislike. Now, this is just nitpicky as can be. Mm-hmm. Going back to Batman and the Caped Crusader.
Yeah.
The first film.
Return of the Caped Crusaders.
Return of the Caped Crusader, thank you. I did notice one thing with the Joker. As we all know, for most people who have knowledge of Batman 66,
they did not draw the mustache.
Yes, you are correct.
They intended to.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
That drove me nuts.
It drove me nuts in this one and in the first one. Because it's like the fact that Cesar Romero refused
to shave his
mustache because it was his signature as a Latin lover. Mm-hmm. So they painted over it with the grease paint, making him look even more demented than he would have otherwise, is a signature look for the character.
Yeah.
And they didn't replicate it here.
Yeah. And it would have been easy. It's like literally you just draw lines on his face.
Good night when Homestar Runner on the Halloween thing where they had Strong Bad be Cesar Romero as the Joker, they put the mustache on the stupid mask. I'll have to show you that picture.
Yes.
But I know you don't know Homestar Runner. I just
No, I don't.
You know, at Halloween, they always dress up as different people.
Yeah.
And one time he dressed up as Cesar Romero as the Joker, and Strong Bad has a Mexican boxing mask on because he's a luchador, or he's got the luchador mask on.
Right.
And they literally drew the mustache on top of the mask and then covered it in what looked like white grease paints.
Oh, that is hilarious.
So if a Flash cartoon from the 2000s can make a better Cesar Romero Joker than highly based animated thing, why? You just gotta wonder where their priorities are.
Right.
And maybe it just didn't occur to them. I don't know.
Yeah, there again, this is like an extreme nitpick, but if you're drawing from the well of the 1966 show, put a white mustache on the character.
And make the Penguin skinny.
Yeah, but
Burgess Meredith was not that tubby the way they draw him here.
I agree, but there again, coming from my era of watching Batman Returns,
I understand.
It's like, oh, okay, I understand. This is Penguin.
Admittedly, it doesn't occur to me from having grown up on Batman the Animated Series, which based its Penguin off of Danny DeVito's Penguin.
Yes.
It doesn't occur to me at first to go, he's chubby. And he's not supposed to be because he's supposed to be based on Burgess Meredith.
Uh-huh.
Who's not this chubby. Correction. He's not this fat. It's not just chubby. He's fat.
Yeah. Well, okay. In calling defense, and I guess this would probably be a week, be like, maybe all his time in prison, he ate too much fish and it made him fat. And so now he's a fat bird.
I'm just saying there is like you said with Cesar Romero's mustache, there's a bit of detail that they missed.
Yes, agreed. Little detail which they needed to pay attention to, but they didn't.
Exactly. So yes, that brings us to the end of our
yes
of our thoughts. We need to rate this thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving it a 7.
Oh, okay.
I still like this movie. I liked it better the second time I watched it, and I like that we got so many different villains that actually had major roles in the story. But it's not, I don't think, as good as Return of the Caped Crusaders as a callback show.
Okay.
As a semi-reunion show. And ultimately, I think how this movie fails is that you can tell it's supposed to lead to something.
Yeah.
And it can't now.
Yeah.
Not do it well. So yeah, that's my rating. 7.
Okay, oddly enough, I'm also giving it a 7. The first film, The Return of the Caped Crusader, had a lot of great things to it. This be like they throw everything into overdrive with the campiness.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, one of your dislikes was the fact that the signs were like overboard. There's a lot of it's like completely disbelievable. Like even like throwing cartoon logic or comic logic into it.
That would not have been in the 66 show.
Yeah, exactly. It throws all the canonicity out of it. And so like we need to make this story and well, can it be darned? So
Which is why I still say it's based more on the Batman 66 comic.
Okay, that makes more sense.
That is a modern take on the show's style of storytelling.
That makes sense.
But honestly, you see this style Batman, you're gonna think Adam West as Batman.
Agreed.
The show from 66.
Right.
Anyway, sorry.
There again, the movie itself is good, but it does have little flaws here and there. Like you heard of my dislikes. But overall, the movie is good. It's not as good as the first one. In some regards, it's still campy and corny. and you see the plot coming from 10 yards away when the train's coming. When you hear the train coming, you know what's going to happen. It's very clear that Two-Face is back. It's Harvey Dent. He hasn't been reformed, or at least the dark side of his subconscious is still there.
You want to know how I thought this was actually going to go?
Okay.
Because here's the thing. What is the Bachelor auction for? What charity is it for?
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunate Twins.
Unfortunate Twins.
First off, isn't that a weird thing for a charity?
Yeah, it is very odd.
So I was sitting there watching going, okay, so Two-Face, the guy, Harvey Dent is sponsoring a thing for charity, and he calls Two-Face.
Which I thought was clever.
It was clever because it kind of throws you off the path. But
Yeah,
I was
he's
thinking
talking like this.
I was thinking the whole time, what if this is not Harvey Dent,
That's what I thought.
but Harvey Dent's twin, and he's actually trying to raise money to help reform Two-Face, but he can't as his normal self because his normal self has no reputation.
Could.
And obviously, if nobody knows who he is. And maybe he calls Two-Face because he's using Two-Face's connections, and he's got this weird plan or something. That's why he could call Two-Face, because Harvey Dent Two-Face is still out there somewhere. And the person they had recover was not Harvey Dent Two-Face at the beginning.
Yeah.
That was what I was thinking it was going to do. But right before the ending, that gets told that that's not what's going on.
So my first initial, like, watching this film for the first time, there again, I should have said this earlier, but the notion that someone could be masquerading as Two-Face, as Harvey Dent's doppelganger, or his evil side. For a second there, I was like, you know what? That'd be a really good idea.
Yeah.
That it's not Harvey. It's someone else who's blackmailing Harvey.
And that would have been a great concept. They
Yeah, it
had
would
all
have.
that set up, but that's not what it is. It's like that was the plan, and then they swerved at the last minute.
Yeah, exactly. And it's there again. Be like, I wish I would have thought that before. It's like, but there it has be like, they had such great potential that be like, you could have Harvey Dent, who is this reformed man who helps the Caped Crusader in his time of need. But no, it's the dark side is coming forth again.
I wonder if DC Comics is the one who said no, because I assume Warner Brothers Animation works with some disconnect from the comic side, but they have to get everything approved. And maybe the idea that Harvey Dent has a twin brother that DC wouldn't budge on.
Well,
Even in this campy era where it would not have affected anything.
well, also Warner Brothers has had a very bad reputation of interfering
Yes.
with movies. So
That's why we're getting another version of Justice League later this year.
yeah, which I'm looking forward to.
I'm actually looking forward to too. I'm tired of the people who are talking like it's going to be the greatest film since, well, for them, Man of Steel.
Man of Steel is not a bad movie. It's
I'm
just,
not saying it's a
got
bad
problems.
movie. I'm saying both it and BVS Ultimate Edition have problems. I like both for different reasons.
Yes.
But they're not my Batman. They're not the be-all, end-all that people make them out to be. Anyway.
Yeah.
We're not here to talk about that and make our friends over at Franchise Fatigue mad at us.
Which we are now part of a
Yes,
network because of it.
Anyway, that brings us to the end of this episode. Join us next time for another movie about a hero
Yeah.
who has to go from zero to hero.
And he's got to go the distance.
And Danny DeVito is in this movie.
Yes, he is.
Actually, I didn't make that connection until just now.
Oh my gosh. This is going to be fun.
And we will have so many Kingdom Hearts connections.
yes.
So join us next time for Hercules.
Oh, the history nerd in me is going to geek.
And not in a good way.
No, it's not.
Anyway, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we will catch you in the next frame.
Come, Jacob, we must prepare for next week.
Prepare for what, Drew?
The same thing we do every week, Jacob. Record a podcast!
Oh, boy.
So where can they find you, Jacob?
You can find me on Facebook at Jacob B. Heron, also on Facebook at Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where I try to draw each and every day. I don't get to it as often as I like, but join me there. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Jacob B. Heron, on Twitter at Jacob Heron, and Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. So where can they find you, Drew?
You can also follow me on Letterboxd at ggeorge759, Facebook as Drew Dodgen, my Facebook page where you can see pictures I've taken at Drew's Photo Bin. You can also follow me on Twitter at ggeorge759.
You can email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com.
You can also follow us on Twitter at cast_cell.
You can follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/thecellcastgaming.
You can also follow us on YouTube at Cellcast,
Listen to our podcast on Apple Podcasts,
Google Play Podcasts,
Stitcher,
Spotify,
and your favorite podcast directory.
You can also listen to us on the Movie of the Week podcast with Jim Heron, where we talk about live action movies. And remember, Cell is a single L.